everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make a faith-based bracelet. So I'm going to show you guys this here in just a minute. Easter is coming up, and that is a Christian holiday, and so I thought this would be really cool to show right now. It's a gift that a friend sent to me, but before we get into that, let's do our encouraging word for today. I love this card. Wife and in when you were born to stand out. Check him out. Is he not the cutest thing ever? Yeah, so wife it in. You were born to stand out. All right, so anyway, this bracelet. So my friend and subscriber, Robbie, sent this to me. And this, I think, is the coolest thing. One of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever received in my entire life. So it is called a Jesus bracelet. I would just call it a faith bracelet even more. But it tells the story of Jesus and, his birth all the way up to him, his love for us, him in heaven. So I'm going to show you what these mean, and we're going to make one. So if you have a friend, even if you're not a Christian, if that's not your faith, if you have a friend who is, or, I don't know, a granddaughter, a daughter, whatever, this would be a great gift for Easter for them. So yeah, it's really, really cool. And it's pretty too. So I'm going to read you what each bead means, and this is what you'll need if you want to make it. So you're going to need some tiger tail, first of all, or bead stringing wire. I need to stop calling this tiger tail because I think that is a brand name. It's bead stringing wire. This is 7-strand, okay, 7-strand bead stringing wire. Then you're going to need a lobster claw clasp, or whatever clasp you want. I've got this one, little silver one. You're going to need 2 crimps and 2 wire guardians. So I've got 2x2 crimp tubes here. These are soft flex, and believe me, you want to have good quality crimp tubes. I can't stress that enough. I used to try to crimp and had a terrible time with it. You guys probably remember the ones who've been with me for a long time. And part of my problem was that I was using cheap crimps and they break. So it really is worth the money to invest in crimp tubes. I've never been a brand name girl. If I think it's pretty, I don't care whose name is on it. But I got to say, it does make a difference to buy quality crimp tubes. And funny story, my older son, he loved honeycombs. Like literally lived on honeycombs for part of his life. Now he's burned out on them. He won't eat them. He'll be 24 in a few days. But loved honeycombs. And I used to try to buy the cheap version of them. I can't remember what they're called, but I don't know. The cheap version of honeycombs, and put it in the honeycomb box, and he could always tell the difference. It never failed. So I never could get away with going cheaper on the honeycombs. But anyway, yeah, brand names. Okay, so you're going to need you're going to need 2 crimp tubes, 2 wire guardians, your bead stringing wire, your clasp, and then you're going to need a star bead. Okay, so I've got this little bead. Now, the sizes of the beads don't really matter a whole lot, I don't think, except for your length. You obviously want them, you don't want them to be huge to make your bracelet too long, or too small to make it too short. So, because you do have to have these specific beads for this bracelet. I mean, this is what it, for it to mean the right things, you do. Okay, so star bead. So I've got a little star bead. Mine's a little smaller than the one Robbie put on here. I like hers better, but I didn't have anything like this, so I just had to go with what I had. So I got that one. And then 3 amethyst beads, or 3 purple beads. They can be any color. I mean, they don't have to be amethyst, is what I'm trying to get out. It's early. 3 beads. 3 purple beads, okay? Then you need a gold bead, a green bead, and a brown bead. Now, I'm using 3 amethysts. These are 8mm. And then I'm using 3 6mm fire polish beads. So gold bead, green bead, brown bead in fire polish. And then you need a pearl. So I got my pearl here. She used a freshwater pearl. That's really pretty. And then you need a wooden bead. So I've got, my wooden bead is a little smaller, as you can see, but some of my beads are smaller, so I'm hoping that the sizing comes out right. I haven't made it yet, obviously, because it's here in front of me, but then you need a fish bead. So I have this little metal fish bead. Then you need 12 rings. And okay, so I don't have any closed rings that are small enough. So I'm having to use jump rings. So I'm going to have to make sure, and if you use jump rings, you just need to make sure that they're closed really, really well. They should be fine on there, but just, yeah, make sure they're closed up really good. But you need 12 rings, okay? Then you're going to need a crystal bead. So here's mine. Okay, crystal bicone. Then you're going to need 3 black beads. So I've got onyx beads here, 3 onyx beads. You're going to need a cross bead, and I'm using this turquoise howlite cross. You're going to need a red bead. So this is bamboo coral right here. You can use anything. I'm just telling you what they are. Mainly, probably to help myself remember too. This one is agate. And this one is faux moonstone or mermaid glass, whatever you want to call it. So you need a red bead, a white bead, and a blue bead. Okay? And then you need a heart bead. So I've got my little red heart here. And I'm using, as you can see, she's put these little spacers in here, and I like that a lot. So I've got a bunch of little daisy spacers. These are tiny. They're like 4mm daisy spacers. Okay? So that's all you need if you want to make this bracelet. And I'm going to tell you the meaning of it as we go through it. I didn't want to say that. I wanted to kind of save that for when we make it. But those are the beads you're going to need. And so let's get started. So I'm going to pull this down here. I'm just going to move them all aside, and we'll go through it with the meaning. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our crimp and our wire guard and a jump ring. Now let me pull out some other actually, I might use a split ring for that. No, I'm just going to use a jump ring. So you're going to need a couple of extra jump rings. I said the 12, which you probably guess is for the 12 disciples, but you're going to need a couple of other jump rings too, just to finish your bracelet. Okay, so here I got these 2 right here. And so first thing we're going to do is crimp our end here. Okay, so we're going to take our tiger tail, and I'm going to cut this. I like to have a little bit at the end to crimp. Let me look here how long, because hers fit me perfectly. So I'm going to cut right about here, and I will measure it and tell you what the size is here in just a second. Okay. All right, so I cut right about 12 inches, just so I'll have enough to crimp either end. Now, I don't know who originally came up with this idea, so to give credit or anything, I have no idea. I just think it was really cool. We're going to put our crimp bead on and our wire guardian. So with your wire guardian, you go up 1 channel here and around and back down through your crimp bead. Okay, and then you just pull that up. Now, I like to squeeze my wire guardian together here at the bottom. It's just a thing I like to do. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I like to. I think it makes it look neater. Okay, so there it is. Now we're going to crimp this, and you want to make sure when you do this that your wires aren't crossed, that they're sitting side by side. So I kind of separate mine a little bit, and then when you take your crimping tool, you're going to lay this in that little divot there, and you're just going to crimp it down. And what it does is it puts each wire, and I actually had mine crossed and didn't realize it. It's okay if you do, but you just don't really want to. But it puts each wire in its own little thing. Then you turn it vertical in here, and you go ahead and close your little crimp up. So there's our crimp. Even though I had it crossed, it still works okay, but you want to try not to have it crossed if you can. I mean, it's better if you don't, but I did. So, all right, so now we're going to start stringing. So the first thing we're going to do is put on our star bead. Now she has little bicones here on the end. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room for them, so I think I may stick a couple of little just tiny spacer beads on here. If you have a really small spacer bead, like a 3mm or 2mm, I've got some really tiny 2mm ones. I think I have some 3mm right here. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry, I know my arm is in the way. Yeah, these are little 3mm spacer beads. I'm just going to use a couple of them, just one on each end. So you can do that or you don't have to. Or you could do, like she did a little 3mm bicone there, or 4mm bicone. It's really pretty. But I don't want to get up and go pull that out right now. I'm too lazy. Okay, so pull that down. All right, now we're going to put our star bead on. So it says, one night there was a bright star. This is a star bead. Star in Bethlehem. I could sing for you, but you don't want me to. There's a song about that. All right. And then we're going to use our purple beads. The star guided the 3 wise men. So I am going to do the spacers in between these like she did. So spacer, amethyst bead, or purple bead. Okay, and just get down over your wire there, the ends of your wire. And then another spacer. And another amethyst bead. Another spacer. And another amethyst bead. Alright, so that guided the 3 wise men, which are the 3 purple beads, who brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So we're going to use gold, frankincense, and myrrh, which are our gold, green, and brown beads. So here's this little spacer again. We're going to use our gold fire polish, our green for frankincense, and our brown for myrrh. Okay. All right. To the birthplace of Jesus, which is the pearl. So here's the birthplace of Jesus. Whoops. Let's get our little spacer bead. You don't have to do the spacers. You can do different spacers if you wanted, but I think they look good on there. And here's our pearl. This is the birthplace of Jesus, which was Bethlehem. All right. Who later in life, Jesus, later in life became a carpenter. That's our wood bead. There we go. Put our little wood bead on for a carpenter. Okay. And he became a fisher of men and souls. So that's our fish bead. We're going to put him on. I'm going to put him on tail first. It doesn't really matter how you do him, I don't think, but okay. And then I'm just going to leave, I'm not going to put a spacer after the fish bead. I put one before, but we're going to do the rings. So I'll just put the rings on next. So he became a fisher of men and souls. That's your fish bead. And he had 12 apostles. So we're going to put on 12 rings. Now, for this, I do want to take these and make sure that each one is closed really good. Because you don't want them falling off. Your disciples falling off. That would be so bad. Let's see here. Most of them look pretty closed up. This one maybe could use it. Okay. And she did the gold. I really like the gold with this too, but I didn't have some of the things that we needed in gold, so I had to go with silver. But I like the silver too. I think it's pretty cool. You could use any metal. It'd be really pretty, like copper or gunmetal, anything like that. All right. Now, I have to make sure that's 12. I may have pulled out some extras. Whoops, let me make sure this one's closed up. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's put on our 12 disciples. We've got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. We've got Timothy, Philip, Thomas, Judas, James, John. How many is that? How many disciples do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Lord, it's going to be hard to count them. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I don't know who I've already said and who I haven't. So there they are. 12 disciples right there in a row. All right. So we've got our 12 rings. The disciples spread the word of Christ, which is a crystal bead. This is the word of Christ right here. We'll put it on, and then we'll do a spacer bead. But on one black day of hatred, envy, and death, so that's our 3 black beads, our onyx beads. So we've got hatred here, envy here, and death next. Okay, hatred, envy, and death. He was crucified, so that'll be our cross. Let me get my other little, oh, she didn't put, you know, I think I'm going to do what she did and not put the spacers between hatred, envy, and death. I'm just going to put them together. Okay, there we go. And then my spacer. And so we're putting our cross on. I hope mine's not getting too long. No, it's pretty much even with hers. Okay. So the cross, let's see. He was crucified. That's our cross. And he shed his blood for us to purify and save us. That would be our red bamboo coral bead. So we'll put it on. And a spacer. He arose again. That's our white bead right here. Our banded agate. He arose again and is now in heaven, which is our blue bead. Okay, get a spacer. He did all of this because of his great love for us, and that is our heart bead. Isn't this so cute? Okay, and then we're going to put, let me see where I'm at in my sizing. I am dead on with her. Good. Okay, I was worried. All right, now we're going to put on our little tiny spacer. 3mm spacer bead. And then we're going to close it off. So same way that we did it a minute ago with our crimp bead or crimp tube. And then our wire guard. Go up over and around. Whoops. I'm going to go back down through our crimp bead and a couple of other beads here. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull this. And one good way to pull this down real good is just to hold it like that and pull. Okay, and then we want to close in our wire guard. Pull this tight, make sure there's not anything loose or, you know, you want it to be pretty tight, especially your disciples here. You want them to be tight, not flopping around all over the place. So this is one bracelet that I would pull pretty tight. I usually say don't pull too tight, but this one we want to pull tight. Okay, and then I'm going to crimp that down, turn it sideways, and close it right up. And there is our bracelet. Okay, so let's trim this off. There we go. Now we're just going to add our clasps on. And so I am just a tad bit, well, no, I'm actually pretty close to her. Okay, so we're going to put our lobster on one end, and actually I'm going to find a little bit bigger jump ring to use as my other one. Here's a twisted jump ring. Is this an open ring? I don't think it is. I think these are closed. Yeah, that won't work. I had some other twisted jump rings that I thought were open. Are these? I think these are open. Maybe not. They don't look open. They're supposed to be. Yeah, they are. Okay. I'm going to put this on one end for the lobster to clasp onto. Because I don't know. I just like it. I like this twisted one. I think it's pretty. Okay, so we're going to stick that on there. And then we'll put our lobster on the other end with our teeny jump ring. I didn't do a very good job of opening that jump ring right there. I don't know what was wrong with me there. Okay. And get our lobster on here. Now, I could use a smaller lobster if I needed the bracelet to be a little smaller. And you don't have to put all of the spacers in either, in between everything. One way, if you needed to make it smaller, you could do all like 4mm beads, but I just didn't have all 4mm beads. But all your round beads, you know, you can make 4mm beads, or you could, you know, you don't have to put all the spacers in between. You could do 4mm beads. You could do a smaller fish than mine. Obviously, my fish is kind of big there. So yeah, but I thought this was so cute and so meaningful for somebody. If you know somebody that is of the Christian faith, or you are the Christian faith, this is just such a meaningful bracelet, I thought. And so I wanted to thank Robbie again. I'm telling you, when I got this and opened it, I had gone outside to the mail and obviously come back in, and I was headed up the stairs to the bead room, and I opened it and just was like on the stairs, and I just literally sat down on the stairs, and I was like to Chris, I said, come here and look at this. And so we sat there and read it together, and it's just such a meaningful thing for somebody that is of the Christian faith. So thank you to Robbie. That's one of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever received in my life, and I absolutely love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.